Alrighty, and welcome to Gilbert. It's all about the media podcast. I am Gilbert Garcia. So happy Halloween, everyone. Even though it is not Halloween right now, well, the way I edit, it'll probably be Christmas by the time this episode comes out. If you're familiar, recently I just watched Halloween and I have my thoughts about it, and then I have two other people thoughts about it. You guys already know Jesus. I'd like to introduce you guys to my good friend Kevin. Say hi.
Hi, nice to talk to you all.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to give my brief thoughts before we actually get into what we're about to talk about, because we're not just talking about the movie in general. We're actually going to be talking about the 44 years of the entire series. And if you've never watched any of the movies, or at least the recent movies, this is going to be filled with a lot of spoilers. But my spoil free thought right now on this movie is, in all honesty, I was expecting this movie to kind of let me down. And when I saw it, I was surprised at the amount that I was let down. Like, I knew I was going to be let down because the way David Gordon Green has been trying to work with this, it's not just David Gordon Green. It's like, if you ever like seen like the recent Star Wars movies or any movie that they're trying to recreate or like trying to end off, it doesn't really end on a good note. I mean, look what happened to the Rise of Skywalker. It didn't end on a good note.
Yeah.
But like, I don't hate the movie either, but I feel like it does show they didn't have a plan process. But I mean, what are y'all's thoughts, really, briefly? Kevin, I guess you can go.
Well, with all honesty, I think it fucking sucked. I mean, it had all this stuff that I really wasn't even expecting, and it just I'm not gonna say any spoilers so for anyone who is still planning on going to check it out, but it just was kind of bland, and yeah, it really let me down.
All right, Jesus.
So that's the reason why I was so happy you guys had a share screen button, because the picture I have pretty much sums up how like David Gordon Green's trilogy turned out. So give me a second here. Let me try to. Oh, okay. It says that you disabled it, but pretty much the whole thing I was trying to show y'all was, if you notice the intros, you see how their text is like the original film from
All right, hold on.
'78.
I actually got it. Check if you can do it.
Oh, okay, cool. So I
Okay,
got
good.
that.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome. All right, and
My bad.
oh, you're fine.
So y'all notice how literally these are the actual, like on the left, these are all the original titles for the first
Ye-
three films. And you
yeah.
notice the ones on the right are the ones from David Gordon Green. So you can clearly see what they were trying to do and mimic
Hmm.
with these films. So right from the get-go, when I saw the blue text on this intro, that was first in my head, that was like, ooh, it's gonna be that kind of movie, is it? Gonna
Yeah.
be that movie. I was surprised that they didn't have him for. They only had him for like 7 minutes, almost in the entire film. Sorry, I know Kevin here was
Uh,
very like pleasant enough to not let spoilers, but I'm gonna go into spoilers because people should have already seen this. It's on Peacock. They can go on streaming if they don't want to go to a theater. It's whatever it is. So I gotta admit they tried something different.
Yeah.
Like I know,
yeah,
I guess I'm contrasting it to what you mentioned about how the Rise of Skywalker was attempting to bring back everybody into the theater because of how bad the Last Jedi was, and
Yeah.
then the Jurassic World. Well, that's another can of worms, but yeah, they tried something different with this one. So I can't. My first impressions are it's the weakest in the trilogy, but I guess it's all right. I mean, it's not that bad. I came in expecting it. Like I was like, he's gonna have to die,
mhm.
but the way it turned out, I was like, oh
Yeah.
okay. So I don't know. Yeah. There's just the first impressions overall. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, honestly, when like I guess I could. You already mentioned it, but in this spoiler, yeah, he does die. It's not the first film where Michael dies, surprisingly, but it's just the way they handled it. Like I was expecting at least something, like cool or exaggerating. No, he just like bleeds out, and apparently he has old age too. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wasn't impressed. I was let down. And for anyone who's not familiar with the entire, like, I went to the theater and you saw it on Peacock, Jesus. I think I should have seen it on Peacock so I could have saved $7. But
I actually wanted to see this movie. I'm gonna see it in the theater tomorrow. Initially, I was trying to do it today, but well, with things here and stuff like that, I just said, you know what? We're gonna have this podcast. I have Peacock. Let's just watch it.
Yeah, and like I went to the theater, and some people actually haven't seen any of the films, and I know they're going to be lost. But if they ever had to rewatch the entire Halloween series, they're going to be really lost because if anyone's not familiar, this trilogy is actually it takes place 40 years after the first film, but in this weird timeline. So I'm pretty sure most people will hear will hear that Michael and Laurie are sisters, but that's brother and sister, but that's not actually the case in this timeline because in this timeline they're not. So we're gonna actually start all the way back to 1978 to give people a little insight on what we're talking about. So first of all, this was a very low budget film back in 1978. They had what 700 grand, I believe, to do this film, somewhere around there. They didn't have a costume designer, so whatever the actors and actresses wore, they had to wash it again and rewear it again in case they had to do some reshoots. They had to get a house, and I feel bad. Like for those who don't know, I did a film project and we had to recreate a movie, and we all did Halloween. Kevin was Michael Myers. I think that was his dream came true. Well, I was Michael Myers briefly, but yeah, I feel bad for my uncle for like we had to tell him to be quiet in his own house. So yeah, like it was a very low budget film. Jamie Lee Curtis, this was her first film, but she wasn't a stranger to movies and pop culture because her dad was Tony
Tony
Curtis.
Curtis,
Yeah, and her mom was I forgot her mom's name. I'm sorry.
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, for those who don't know who Janet Leigh was, she was the woman in Psycho who got stabbed in the shower. So she's not familiar. I mean, she's no stranger to film. I do want because the project we did when we did this film, it was a cinematography project, and no one really talks about it because instantly from the first film, you get a point of view shot of a young Michael Myers, and you see like the mask like go on the camera. You see his little arm go for a kitchen knife, and you see him go up the steps and murder his sister Judith. And then, the point of view shot is still happening when he goes outside and then his parents come out and they're like, Michael, like what did you do? And then, they rip off the mask. And this kind of ticks me off a bit. Nobody talks about his reaction after he killed his sister, like because people like they just instantly go to like Loomis's part, which was Michael's doctor, but his reaction to like he looks confused, he looked confused that he just killed someone that he just killed his sister. Flash forward 15 years later, Michael, now 21 years old, played by I met Nick Castle. Yeah, I almost forgot his name. He's played by Nick Castle, who's actually not 21. I think he was 30. He was already in
He
his
was
30s.
31.
He
He
was
was
31?
31.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay, yeah. So he was 31. Well, not a big deal. Yeah, he's played by Nick Castle, but you don't see his face. You just see like the figure because they don't call him Michael Myers, or at least Michael in the movie. He's referred to as the Shape. And he gets out of prison, or not prison, he gets out of Smith Grove Sanitarium because I guess back then, or the state, I don't know what it is, but apparently at 21, you're tried as an adult and he's being transferred. Well, somehow he escaped. He takes a car and nobody knows how he knows how to drive it. Like he drives a car. He's been incarcerated for 15 years since he was 6 years old. All right. I'm pretty sure there's no driver's ed in a mental institution for, kids that are mentally insane, but he drives a car. And even Loomis was like, well, he was doing so last night. Like, he drives it all the way to Haddonfield. It's not a real place, by the way. It's a made up place, but where he grows up. But he goes to Haddonfield where he grows up and he stalks Laurie Strode. And if you're wondering, oh, yeah, that's his sister. Well, no. You see, at this time, there was not even a consideration. Laurie Strode was just somebody. Like, she was just a victim. They weren't related. There was no thought of them being related at the time. And he's just stalking Laurie Strode and her friends. And he eventually gets, a mask. For those who don't know, it's a replica of William Shatner's face. They painted white and they like made the eye holes a little bit bigger. Side note, William Shatner did not know it was his face until 40 years later. Like he didn't know at all. And he didn't care either. So that's like when someone asked him, hey, how did you feel about the Michael Myers mask being your face replica? And he's like, wait, that was my face? I didn't know that. But yeah, it didn't seem to bother him. So yeah, that's good on his end. But back to it. Now Michael has the mask. He has a weapon. He's like getting ready to kill people. First, he actually starts with Laurie's friend Annie. He kills her in a car, and Annie is the sheriff's daughter. He like holds her down and then he slits her throat. And despite this movie's not brutal. There's no blood within this film except for the beginning but it's not gory or anything. Back in the 70s, there wasn't really a lot of gore. Like if you ever watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's not that gory. And I thought that movie was gory, but then I looked back and I was like, oh, the gore is pretty tame in these movies. But yeah, he kills Annie, the Sheriff Brackett's daughter. Then he kills Bob and Sally. Is that the character?
It's
I
Bob
know,
and
I think
but
it's, if I remember correctly, there was
Annie
Annie,
Brackett.
Annie
and
Brackett,
then
Bob. I
Bob.
know. Is it Sally?
I believe it was Nancy.
No,
No,
Nancy's the kid they
No.
babysat. I know
Yeah.
the actress is PJ Souls.
right,
The kid that they babysat was Lindsay
Lindsay.
Wallace, right?
I think it. No,
No, that
Yeah,
Nancy.
because
Nancy was the name of the actress who played Annie
yeah,
Brackett.
yeah,
Okay, hold on. PJ Souls. Whatever happened to
Linda.
PJ's? Linda. Yeah, you're
I
right.
think Linda,
there we
yeah.
go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Bob, Annie, and Linda. Well, already he kills Annie. Then he goes. So this is where like the whole teens being horny and all that is happening because they're supposed to be babysitting on Halloween, but they abandoned their kids on Lori. So Lori right now is taking care of two kids, Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace. And next thing Bob and Linda are across the street having sex. And then after that, Bob he goes to get a beer, right? Well, Michael like makes his jump scare. And by the way, these jump scares are the only way you should use a jump scare. All right. I'm tired of like horror films where a jump scare happens, there's a lot of music, and it turns out it's not even like the killer or the demon or whatever. It's just somebody playing around, which they did use for Halloween Ends in the beginning, which again pisses me off. Actually, they use it a lot. And yeah. But anyway, he kills Bob. And to this day, no one can figure out the physics because if you've ever seen a chef's knife, it's not that big. He impales Bob and he's hanging on the wall. But a chef's knife, it's not that big. But, this movie's awesome. So that's why we don't care about the physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite horror film. Yeah. Then he kills Linda, like he strangles her. And this is like that one nude scene, which John Carpenter at the time, he didn't consider. It was all PJ Souls. Like, he was actually surprised about it too. But he kills Linda with the telephone. Kids, there was no such thing as a smartphone back in 1978. But yeah, that call Laurie Strode got. She wanted to check on them, so she goes across the street. She sees the massacre, and then Michael tries to kill her, and then she was able to evade him. Like first, like she stabs him in the neck with a sewing needle, and then she hides in the closet, which he breaks through, and then stabs him in the chest, and supposedly he dies. And then like she tells the kids to go run and get help. Well, Michael somehow is still alive and tries to strangle her one last time. And then Loomis, Michael's doctor, who's been trying to like find him, shoots him. And Jesus, how does he say it?
I shot him 6 times.
I shot him 6 times. Yeah, he shoots him 6 times and falls off a 1-story balcony. And so anyway, yeah, he shoots Michael. Everyone's presumed that he's dead. Laurie says like it was the boogeyman, and Loomis was like, as a matter of fact, it was. And as Loomis went to go check on Michael, he's gone. Like everyone's at the time. So if you were to watch it now, you would think like, oh, like it's Michael Myers. Like, but the name Michael Myers at the time,
Wasn't known.
it wasn't known. So people at the theater, I would assume maybe at least 5% thought like this dude isn't dead. But the rest of the people back then, when they saw it, they were like, what? Like how, And that's just how the movie ends. Well, just so I can breathe for a little bit, Jesus, you want to like tell people about Halloween 2?
Yeah. So like, the second movie, just to be clear, there's a side tangent in this whole franchise, and there's like the idea that there's multiple timelines. Sure. So with Halloween 2, let me be clear on it. There's a thing with this franchise, and that's having multiple timelines. So from what I understand, the summary I'm about to give with Halloween 2, it's not Halloween 2018. A lot of people tend to mix that up just because the new trilogy that just came out, the last installment of a trilogy, that sequel for that one was in 2018. But Halloween 2 was the original first sequel to the first film in 78. This one kind of like just feels like you paused the movie and waited 2 years and decided I'm gonna go home and and just finish watching it, because it's like the movie starts off taking place immediately just what had happened. So we know Michael Myers had disappeared. He just got up and walked away, and Lewis is already on a rampage trying to go find him. So he's getting Sheriff Brackett, to go look and get almost, if you're thinking about like today's standards, trying to get the whole SWAT team or FBI trying to go after this guy. because, as he says before, I shot him 6 times, and he goes, this guy's not human. So, I mean, all you know is from the beginning, we see Michael just walking around, I guess, trying to terrorize everything, or at least find a new knife, because he goes into some old people's house, gets the knife, and, you have that famous scene with the lady, like, thinking it's ketchup was really blood, and she just starts freaking out. And, he goes after, kind of like, I guess, because, with him being a psychotic killer and coming from a mental institution, he likes to joke around. So, from what we understand, he killed that one teenager that was next door from the old couple's house, just to, I guess, drive his scent away, or at least distract the cops. Because once they find out that they go to her house and figure out, oh, okay, so something happened here, they're just trying. He's trying to elude the cops away from him. But the idea is Lori is sent to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, and that's where the rest of our story kicks off. For a lot of the viewers who are already familiar with the new trilogy, Halloween Kills, it kind of has a similar premise. Some of the scenes are taking place in a hospital because Laurie has to be admitted to a hospital, etc. But anyway, with the original two, going back to that one, a lot of the nurses and I guess one in particular, a paramedic. If I'm trying to remember his name, if it was it Jimmy?
Is it the one that's presumed to be the dad of Jamie, or?
I think so, but I'm trying to remember if his name was Jimmy or not.
Yeah,
I think so.
Lance Guest. He's played by Lance Guest. From what I understand, is he's got like the hots for Laurie. Of course, Laurie is sedated throughout most of this film, so like all I'm saying is Jamie Lee Curtis got a real big paycheck that whole film, because she didn't say like what 5-7 words of
pretty
dialogue.
much. A little side note here: Michael in this movie, Michael is now played by Nick Castle. He's played by a different actor named Dick Warlock. I almost got a chance to meet him, but his line was pretty long. Yeah, sorry for that cut in, Jesus.
No, that's kind of important, because for viewers who watch it, you'll notice his face is a little wider, and it's the same mask. It's not a different mask. The problem is that one of the original producers, Deborah Hill, and writer, she initially kept the mask under her bed, and she was a heavy smoker, so she would smoke a lot, and over time, she just left the mask under her bed, not knowing just how important that piece was to film history. So when they finally got out under the bed, it was already yellowed and smeared and everything. So that's why it kind of looks the way it is. But ultimately, it's the same mask. It's just Dick Warlock has a wider face, so that's why it looks stretched out rather than Nick Castle's, iconic structure. But anyway, coming with that, trying to be very quickly as I can here. Loomis eventually thinks he finds Myers walking around, but it turns out later we find out that was a love interest of Laurie, Ben Tramer. He had a similar mask up and everything, like the whole get up thing, and it's crazy how his death underlines with a police car almost like literally ramming him into a truck and blowing up. But yeah, for a long time, Loomis can't assume that that was Michael, even though it looks like him. The cops are sure of it. They're like, yeah, let's take you back home, like whatever. Speaking of which, one of his nurses, a registered nurse, if I can remember her name, it escapes me right now, but she orders him to go back. At least the governor is ordering him to go back to Smith's Grove, at the mental institution and all that, just because they don't want to go. They don't want this whole thing to reach national headlines. They already are big. The news is hitting it up and saying that Michael Myers is still out there causing havoc, and well, they don't want this to go all over the world. Kind of panic. So he's forced to go back, but of course he finds his way. He basically forces their escort to drive him back to the hospital, because that's where he discovers that the audience discovers the reason why Michael is just stalking Laurie, and it's because she was his sister, is his sister, and it was the younger sister, because in the beginning, Michael killed his older sister, Judith Myers, and by that time, Laurie was like, I think, 2 years old or something like that. She was very young, so she couldn't remember. And that's why throughout the movie, with her sedation and her sleeping, she starts dreaming and having recollections of, having a brother. But again, it's something that she doesn't remember. And in those flashbacks, we can see that, it's Michael. So it's a shock to the audience, and it's a shock to everybody.
It was a shock to the original people. Sorry to cut you off, too.
Go ahead.
No, but I found out that the executive producer, I forgot his name. Dang, who's the financier?
Mustafa Akkad?
Mustafa Cod and some of the others, when they found that out, they were not pleased with the result. Actually, they didn't like the fact that they were related. They thought it was just like I forgot what why they didn't like it, but I just heard from the Dead Meat YouTube channel, which is what I tend to watch sometimes, that they weren't a fan of the result. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there again.
No worries. And I think with that keeping in mind, a lot of the nurses end up dying. Paramedics end up dying. I think Jimmy is. It just depends. It's weird. So Jimmy, I'll leave it. I'll leave it off the side. But like I said, so Loomis is heading to the hospital because that he knows exactly that's where they kept Lori. And once he gets there, Michael's close in pursuit and pretty climactic ending there. Really, really cool. They're in the hospital. They're running away from Michael. And from what I understand, it almost looks like he's about to have the upper hand. He kind of like subdues Loomis for a little bit, and it's just him and Lori. Lori shoots him twice, and it's the most iconic scene of the thing where it's like bloody eyes, even though it doesn't look like it's actually on its eyes. If y'all look closely enough, it looks like she shot him like in the head or like on top, like on here. Because if y'all look closely enough, Dick Warlock's eyes are closed, and you can still see blood smearing, like if it's coming from top of the mask, which is weird. But yeah. Anyway, he's blinded as far as we can tell, and that gives Loomis the perfect opportunity to pretty much try to subdue him permanently along with him. They were in a room filled with a bunch of oxygen tanks and, if I remember correctly, ethane gas, which is like very flammable. So he turns them on and he makes Lori escape. And with the light of a match, he's like, "It's time, Michael." And boom, the whole thing explodes. But I think very cool shot is the last time we see Michael is when he's literally walking in flames, still standing, like crazy stuff. The idea that behind this man that is what Loomis said, he's not human, he's just pure evil. So for him to get up and still walk before he finally succumbs to his wounds, really fascinating. One last thing I would like to add. Trying to go back to Jimmy now. So the paramedic who kind of had like who was in love with Jamie. It depends on which version you watch. So there's two cuts of Halloween: the original theatrical version and the television cut that came out like in '83 or '84, something like that. Apparently, they recorded a lot of deleted scenes and they input some of those deleted scenes back into it, which includes an alternative ending. Y'all know how in the ending, Lori being put onto the ambulance and is going to be sent, like transferred to another hospital. And then it ends, and it ends with her just panning to her face, knowing, okay, she feels like she's at ease. She may be at ease. She may be a little bit worried because she doesn't think that he might be dead or not. But to us viewers, it just looks like, yeah, he's pretty much dead. In the television cut, however, we cut back to the shot where, yeah, it's panning on her. Like she still has that same gloomy face. But then you turn around and somebody's coming out from the sheets, like if they're on that bed. And she freaks out for a little bit, as it turns out it's Jimmy, because he suffered a heavy fall earlier in the movie, and it gave him like a big concussion.
I can't imagine that.
I know, right? Crazy stuff. Especially how hard it hit. Like, I was like, wow, that was hard.
Because that was ceramic floor, too.
Yeah, goodness. That's like an ending there. He's fine, and he says, look, it's all right. It's over. And I think she says something like, "We made it." That's what it was. We made it. And yeah, it still cuts back to the mask burning up in the end. Whichever version you watch, it's still going to cut back to the mask burning. For all intents and purposes, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill pretty much said, that's it. Michael Myers is dead. We're not continuing this.
Well, that's what they thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're actually going to skip Halloween 3, but we will actually come back to it because Halloween 3 is a different storyline. Actually doesn't even take place in Haddonfield or supposedly in the same universe. If you have a lot of knowledge of Halloween 4, Kevin, do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, sure.
All right, go ahead.
I love that. Okay, well, Halloween 4, it doesn't have Laurie Strode in it. It's mainly centered on Jamie Lloyd, who was played by Danielle Harris. And she, in the movie, is Michael Myers' niece. And I guess on the movie, he escaped from, I think, Ridgemont or somewhere, and he's coming after her. So now in the movie at some part at the beginning, they show Jamie Lloyd like holding a picture of Laurie. It's supposed to be Laurie Strode and Jamie Lloyd together, like having fun and smiling, and she starts crying because she really misses Laurie Strode. So I don't know what Laurie Strode is to Jamie Lloyd, as I guess. Well, I would say she's her aunt, but
they're actually mother and daughter.
Mother and daughter.
Oh. Yeah.
Mother and daughter. Okay.
That's where
So
the whole
yeah.
Jimmy and Lori from part two. How like I told you in the end, it looks like
Hmm.
they're together because they
Yeah.
survived the whole incident. And I think
Uh-huh.
from that they decided let's go ahead and have a baby, and that became Jamie.
Yeah, that's right. And so, and somehow, I think Michael sort of has this power over Jamie Lloyd, or so think that's the following movie or something. But yeah,
You're right. I think you're right on that one. That's like the
mhm.
following.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
well, in now about Jamie Lloyd, she in the movie doesn't have any parents. She's a foster child in the movie. Yeah, look, and watched over by Rachel Caruthers, played by Ellie Cornell, and she's been on a few other horror movies too. But yeah, everyone's always thought Michael Myers was never coming back to Haddonfields. This is back in Haddonfield, and so everyone finds out about it and they're shocked, and he's just trying to stop at nothing to get his hands on Jamie. That's all I got.
No, I can do if you want. I can add in a little bit for you. With if I remember correctly, the initial idea, and a lot of fans, hardcore fans, know this, but for those who don't know and are just getting into the series, there was initially a plan to try to actually film, like just like how we said, Halloween
Mhm.
2 takes place directly after the first film, just like a couple minutes
Mhm.
in between.
Yeah.
They were
Mhm.
trying to do the same thing with 4. They were going to film the same kind of scene with Loomis and Michael being burned up in the hospital.
Mhm.
But when the explosion happened, you would cut to a window in the room where Loomis escaped from. I guess the blast was so severe that he just like went through that window, and that would explain how he survived it. Michael, well, we
Probably.
already
Yeah.
know Michael
Yeah.
is not a human, so he's just evil. There's always evil's always just gonna like resurrect itself anyway. And that's the ideal. So Loomis in this film, he's like scarred. It's famous because his scar looks like a boiled egg, or sorry, a sunny side up egg.
Uh,
So and he didn't even realize that. When he had realized it, I think maybe like halfway into filming, he was like, "Why does my face look like an egg?" So you notice how they try to like make a couple things towards the end. They kind of fix it up just a little bit, but they don't want to go way back into it because they had to. This film was on a tight schedule. They
Both
couldn't make
films were
any room
actually
for
on a tight
errors.
schedule.
Right, exactly. And they had the writer strike. So like the actual writer of this film, he took like I think 4 days to write the whole thing. Because right after those 4 days, they had the writer strike. They weren't kidding around when they're trying to make this film as quick as possible. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to ask something, go ahead. My bad.
Now that it's not just really that. It's just because like maybe I don't know if it's this movie or Halloween 5 where it starts to get kind of repetitive. You know what I mean? Because
I
it's
think
like
so.
well, because this movie is kind of like Halloween Ends in a way. There's a mob and they're all trying to kill Michael, and they end up killing the wrong guy. If you ever, so I get again, like if you don't have time to ever actually watch all these movies, I suggest watching the Deadbeat Kill Count episodes. It gives you enough information. But it's like also like you don't really care for any character except for Jamie, like and maybe Rachel as well.
Rachel, and I'll tell you this much: Rachel, Loomis, and Jamie had really good, at least in my opinion, they had really good arcs, really good dialogue. Their stories were like their dialogue was really driven because everyone was familiar with Loomis, and it was just like he was the one to lead everybody because now Laurie's gone, we have Jamie to rely on, and Rachel, being her foster sister and all, it almost felt like you would root for her because whenever Michael would come and try to get Jamie or attack anybody relate like who's friends with her or whatnot, it was always one step ahead. So you are right in that statement. It kind of gets a little repetitive as the franchise moves forward from here to this point. Yeah, it's the fifth film where it's like, oh, they kind of ignore everybody and it kind of
Yeah,
stinks, and the only person you care about is Jamie.
yeah, because like I guess I'll try to briefly finish it off, but basically, like Michael, everyone knows Michael's out for Jamie, and then they try to have it like the sheriff's house. It's a whole different sheriff because Sheriff Brackett retired because y'all forgot his daughter dies in the first one, so that's kind of why. And you do see his reaction in the next movie, Halloween 2. But yeah, to finish it off, well, sadly, even the new sheriff's daughter in this film dies too. So I guess Michael has it out for law enforcement's daughter, apparently. But just to move forward, he does kill a bunch of people. He kills Rachel's boyfriend and the sheriff's daughter. We don't really care. And this is the only time Michael uses a gun, but he doesn't use it like how a normal human being uses it. He like uses it to impale the sheriff's daughter. But anyway, Um, Michael's at a drain hole or something. I don't remember. All we know is like a bunch of cops and a bunch of hillbilly, not hillbilly law enforcement, like a bunch of vigilantes. They all shoot him. He falls in the drain hole. We know he's not dead, obviously, but the movie ends with how Halloween, the very first one, begins. This time it's actually Jamie because throughout the whole movie, Jamie is also wearing a clown costume, which is what Michael Myers wore in the beginning of the very first movie when he was a kid. Something I forgot to mention. But yeah, she grabs a pair of scissors. She stabs her foster mom multiple times. And apparently she didn't die. I thought she did die, but I found out that she actually survived. Loomis, seeing that, his reaction, like, I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but his reaction to me actually got me. He's like, no, no. Like, he thought like he got away with Michael, but now he realizes he has to deal with now another cycle. And the movie ends from there. But it pisses me off because in the next movie, they just ignore all of that. Like, apparently Jamie snaps out of it or something, like something Michael couldn't do. And like, spoiler alert, guys, but if you liked Rachel in that previous movie, well, she dies not that far into the movie. And if you're wondering where Michael was, apparently, I don't know, because like you said, there was a whole writers thing happening because this movie was like being filmed and written at the exact same time. So there's a whole new side story that was added in while filming. It's called The Cult of Thorns. We don't get into it until the next movie, which is one of my least favorite. Like, I cannot stand that one. But no, we also get a new set of characters that we don't care about.
Highly forgettable.
Yeah, they're Rachel's friends. And who wants to take on the mask part? Because I really don't want to talk about it.
I'll tell you this much: if I could add something to the fifth film, the person to blame, the two people to blame in this whole mess of a film would have to, of course, be Mustafa Akkad, because I guess he was fine with approving everything that the director was doing. The director, I don't even know who he is. The initial idea, the director of the fourth film, when we saw Michael supposedly die in that ditch, he was dead. To the director and everybody there, he was dead, and his evil was like transferred to Jamie, and that's why we got that ending. They were hoping that the guy for the next film would continue that story. And Ted, the guy's like, nah, I'm gonna do it my own way and do my own style. And that goes back to the whole Code of Thorn, like they just added in last minute. The Man in Black, dude, everybody asked, who's the Man in Black? Who's that dude? The director was like, I don't know. He just added it in there. I don't,
Yeah.
it's just, but
Yeah,
it goes back into the sixth film and it goes in there. But with the sixth film intact, unless you want me to go ahead and start it.
I mean, if you want to, yeah.
I'll be brief on it. The Curse of Michael Myers, it goes way, way more in depth into the whole Code of Thorn. Again, depending on which cut you watch, because the original
there's two different
cut
cuts, yeah.
was butchered by the studio at the time. So that's the studios went ahead and told them, okay, we want this cut, and they went with that cut. Of course, everybody could forget that load of trash, and they watched the producer's cut, because the producer's cut, well, the whole film in general is really not that good of a film, but the producer's cut really dives into the whole mythological thing as to why Michael is who he is. And Loomis plays a very small role, has a bigger role in that cut, even though he was already towards the end of his filming career, because right after this film was made, I think maybe about a month or so, he passed away. Donald Pleasance, the actor. Overall, for those who are listening, Paul Rudd, before he was Ant-Man, took the role of Tommy Doyle, the same one of the kids that Laurie Strode in the original was babysitting. He's playing the same character, but now grown up. And he's got this weird side to him in the film. But you can see, coming from a person who was almost killed by the boogeyman, yeah, I can see why he would be this way now, grown up. But yeah, something about, I guess, his niece or whoever, like, because Jamie dies in the first 10 minutes. Sorry, spoilers, but these are spoilers for like a 20, 30-year-old film. So I'm just going there.
Yeah, you're fine, man.
She dies, but she has a kid before all that. And the kid is taken by another family, like foster care, I believe. And yeah, that's what Michael is after now, is Jamie's kid.
Yeah, well, in both cuts, she dies differently too. Like the first one, she dies from being impaled by some type of farm equipment. Right. And then the second time she dies, which is the producer's cut, or was it the theatrical cut?
Producers.
Where she dies in a hospital, like she survives, but then the Man in Black or some type of cult member shoots her in the head, and that's where we get off. Oh, you can
No,
continue.
that's right. No, that's right. No, you're right. Spoiler alert: the Man in Black, as it turns out in this film, is actually a colleague of Loomis from like the very first film. It's a brief moment. They're talking about, like, where it goes back to how was Michael driving perfectly all the way to Haddonfield. That gentleman next to him, the colleague, that's supposed to be him. Just all that explains why he was fine in that film. He didn't really care much about Michael, or wasn't really worried, because that was the plan. Apparently, he let him out to do all this stuff, and he's the leader of that cult. In the end, they have this weird thing. They keep Michael isolated. He's just standing there in the theatrical version. In the producer's
Yeah.
version, he's apparently on the floor. Or I'm trying. Wait, I think I'm confusing it. But anyway, as it turns out, that man, the leader, switches places with Michael with the mask and everything. And Loomis thinks, okay, that's it. You're done, Michael. There's no point. What else do you have left? Well, of course, when he's about to grab his hand and mask, it turns out it's the dude, and I guess he transfers the evil in Michael to Loomis, because in part 5, that little story arc, his hand, at least right here, like one of his arms, has the logo, has their seal, and it gets transferred to Loomis, and you can hear Loomis in the background like screaming and
Screaming.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And well, Michael's free wherever he is.
Yeah. Well, either way, both cuts are just an insult to Donald Pleasance. I mean,
Yeah.
this was his last film. I mean, if you're gonna honor, well, again, nobody thought he would die, but also, I mean, Gustav Makant should have at least for looked over this. All he just did was financially provide it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And Paul Rudd, I mean, no one ever thought Paul Rudd ever has appeared in it. So I found out he was actually supposed to replay his role as Tommy Doyle in Halloween Ends before Anthony Michael Hall, but at the time he was actually filming Ghostbusters Afterlife. But I think for the best, because I don't think anyone would want to see Ant-Man get his head bashed in from what's a baseball bat. So they let the kid from 16 Candles do it. But yeah, this is actually it's a weird timeline to explain too, because at the time no one ever thought like, okay, we're gonna bring back Michael. No, they did. Halloween 2 was supposed to be set as the end of Michael Myers, but they just decided to bring him back. And Halloween 6 sucked so bad that they're like, okay, we got to redo this story in a different direction. And we'll get to it. We're going to actually take a little break right now. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back. All right. Welcome back to Gilbert. It's all about the media podcast. I'm still with my two friends, Kevin and Asus. We all go way back. And I never got to ask you guys this. How were y'all actually introduced to Halloween? Because like for me, like I was familiar with the name Michael Myers, but I actually didn't know the movie. Like I found out it was called Halloween when I was, I think, age 11 or 12. But how are y'all first introduced?
Okay, who wants to go first?
But you're already talking.
If you want to
Oh,
go,
okay,
go ahead,
okay.
man.
Oh, okay, thanks. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the way I was introduced to Halloween was when I was like really little, like I was like 5 or something. I was in the living room. I don't remember like what I was exactly doing. Like I don't know if I was eating a meal at the first house I ever lived in, and or playing, or like I don't know, playing with I don't know, playing with some action figures. And one of my I think my dad or some, put it. He was watching TV and he was going through some channels, and one of the movies was a Halloween movie. Didn't even know, I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't know it was called Halloween. And I don't remember which exact movie it was. It might have been the second or first one, but I found the intro kind of appalling, and it really captivated my attention. And then even seeing, I would see his character, he just gave me chills. And but then other than that, at school, like in kindergarten or first grade, I would hear lots of the students that mention the name Michael Myers. I had no idea who exactly that was, but they would say he has like a what. I would ask them, what does he look like? And they say he has a white mask, pitch black eyes, and like a dark blue jumpsuit, brown hair. So I was curious if this was that slasher guy from the movie I saw. And then a few moments later, I don't know what years these were, but my family and I were going through the channels again once on the TV, and they were showing the end of H2O 20 years later. And I asked my parents, is that Michael Myers? And they said like, yeah, or something. And that ending of the movie really had my attention. So that's how I I started watching more stuff on Michael Myers and Halloween. So yeah, I'll
Nice.
give you that.
Jesus.
I believe, just like Kevin, I was introduced to it by my parents unknowingly. So, like, through the channels, my mom, and to this day, defending it to her grave, she is a proud supporter of Univision because that's the only way she gets her novelas from Mexico here. And at the time, I think there were two shows. I mean, two channels. There was Univision and Telefutura. I forgot which version, which channel it was on, but one of those two. And at one point during the October season, they were playing Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007, and that caught my attention pretty quickly. Watching it in Spanish, and I guess I was watching a good version of it because the television cut seems to be way better than what I saw on Blu-ray years later.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. I liked it. It kind of like freaked me out. Yeah, like just like you said, gave me chills, my spine. I didn't have nightmares per se, but it did freak me out whenever I saw his face and other like when I started researching about him. And then eventually at a flea market, they were having a DVD sale. I guess it was Blockbuster or something, but they didn't affiliate, like they didn't advertise themselves as Blockbuster. They were just selling a bunch of DVDs on black cases. And I found the original Halloween, and I thought, oh look, that's the movie I saw. Of course not. I didn't know it was the original film, and I saw a different version, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. So that's kind of how I got introduced to it.
Yeah. Another thing we forgot to mention before we went to break, but the actor who played Michael Myers in Halloween 4 and Halloween 6 is George C. Wilbur. At the time, he was the first actor to play Michael Myers twice or more than once. And then the actor who played Michael Myers in Halloween 5 is Don Sharks. Don Sharks or Don Shanks? Don Shanks. Okay, thank you. But like I said, after Halloween 6, how it failed and how many people were appalled by it, they were like, we have to fix this somehow. So they decided, you know what? We're going to scrap the whole coat of thorns. Thank God they decided to do that. And they went with Halloween H2O 20 years later. At the time I heard about it, I didn't know that it was a different continuation. I didn't know they scrapped the whole coat of thorns things. Because at the time I thought, like, if you knew me, if you were me, it would make sense that, like, I thought Laurie Strode was, because they said Laurie Strode like faked her death. So I was like, it makes sense now, but why would she fake her death and then leave Jamie Lloyd with strangers? You know what I mean? Like, but then I found out, oh, okay, it's played by it's a whole different story. So in this story, it takes place 20 years later. So it actually came out in 1998, and Laurie goes on a whole new identity, and she has a son now, played by, I forgot the dude's name.
I think it was Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett, yeah. Yeah. We don't see him in a lot of other stuff. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen Penny Dreadful, he's in that show. He is amazing. And Penny Dreadful is a very good show, man. Like, if you love the whole, like, Dracula, Frankenstein, that's literally what the whole show's about. And
oh, shoot, okay.
Yeah, it does, like, the material justice. Like, for sure, it does it. But anyway, she goes by a whole new identity. She's a teacher or a headmistress.
Yeah, she's a teacher. Oh, headmistress. That's right.
She's one of those two in like a prep school in California. And her son knows the story. Like, he knows she's Laurie Strode. He knows that about Michael Myers. And this film also has a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Spoiler alert, he doesn't make it. He gets a skate. An ice skate?
Yeah, I think he gets like stabbed by his ice skate because I guess he was playing a hockey player or costume as a hockey player.
I just know he gets like a skate to the head. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
And Nurse Chambers, that's who her name was. Nurse Chambers, she dies in the beginning of this movie because she has like all the information about Laurie Strode, and that's who Michael's. So in this timeline, they're still going with the fact that Michael and Laurie are brother and sister. So eventually, Michael does eventually find her. This time, he is played by, I think it's, so I have the list here, but they don't show, I think it's Chris Durand. That's the actor. Hold on, because it should say here. Yeah, Chris Durand. I don't know. That's the guy who's playing Michael Myers. It's a whole different mask too, a whole different structure. This guy could do one-arm pull-ups. I don't know how, but LL Cool J is in this movie. But let's be honest, the next movie, you actually be happy LL Cool J's in this movie. And also have a young Michelle Williams. But anyway, like I said, the movie kind of gets repetitive. There's a scene in that movie, and it's a very like intense scene. So like a mother and her daughter, they had to use the restroom. They went to a pit stop, right? And like it gets scary because Michael is in there and we don't know what's going to happen, you know? Like if you've seen Halloween 2018 and you know how that goes, well, good news, guys. It doesn't go that way. They actually do survive. He just takes the woman's car keys and he takes off. But anyway, Michael does track down Laurie Strode, and Laurie is, I don't even know how to say. You guys are going to have to give more explanation because I saw this movie, I think, twice.
So, are you trying to see like how old she was,
or like just how she's taking the events of Halloween.
So, Kevin, you want to take that?
I mean, I don't know. I guess she has. I mean, she has these nightmares about him in her sleep, and I mean, I think she knows that he's still out there lurking somewhere. But and she sees his like image on places too, like in windows. She's trying to forget about it or not be seen by him. I don't know. I can't say much.
Yeah.
But her son in the movie is telling her Michael Myers is dead, and I can't really think of much more to say.
So, like, I think it's weird. This is one of the one films that I kind of like brush over now. I watch it the first time, watch it a couple times, but I don't watch it often anymore.
Yeah.
But trying to remember from it. What I remember exactly right. Kevin had it on the ball. I think her son was trying to just convince him, look, he's gone. You should just move on with your life. Because he has. He's not worried about Laurie Strode, like past history of her mother to like ruin his life experience. He's experiencing the teenage life, having friends. I think they have a party or something like that, and that's how Michael gets into the school because LL Cool J, being the guy who is the gate security. I don't know. He's going through issues on his own on the phone. And I guess Michael somehow just walks on in there without anything happening. But he survives. Just don't worry about that, folks.
Yeah.
But that's how he gets to the school. Goes after Laurie's son because the whole key is he's trying to drag Laurie out from hiding. And I guess in the end, Laurie sums up the courage to finally stand up to him.
Yeah.
Because he starts going after her and all this stuff. And like you said, how does he do one arm stuff? He's able to flip tables with one arm. That's crazy as heck.
Yeah, we didn't even mention this when we were talking about Halloween 2, but they do recreate a scene in this one where in Halloween 2, he stabs a nurse. What's it called?
Are you talking about the second movie or
the second movie, but it's like a very small like medical knife, like a scalpel or whatever?
Yeah, a scalpel. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's able to stab a nurse and pick her up with a small scalpel like that. And he does the same thing with Adam Arkin. I think that's his last name.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Adam Arkin's character, but that was actually freakier because he twitches a lot more than the nurse. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, anyway, I'll just finish it off. Anyway, presumably they thought they killed Michael, but Laurie knows because familiar with Michael, she knows that he isn't dead. So she actually hijacks the ambulance that Michael's supposedly in and like drives it off. Well, Michael, of course, is not dead. I think she slams the brakes. Michael flies out the window. She gets out of the ambulance. Michael hits a tree, and then the ambulance hits the tree. So he's like pinned down. And Laurie, with whatever strength she has left, decides like, I'm going to end it from there. And like Michael's reaching out, and like Laurie, like even though Michael kind of ruined her life, she still sees him as a brother, surprisingly. And she's like, I can't do it. But at the end, she gets the courage and slices off Michael's head. And at the time, we're like, okay, this is the end. Well, I didn't see the movie beforehand, but everyone's like, okay, good. This is the end. This is how it ends. And they were all wrong. Or, hold on. Jesus, how would our driver's ed teacher, Mr. Sam, say?
You're wrong.
Oh, God, I don't want to. Oh, man, I really don't want to talk about this. I'm pretty sure I don't even want to talk about
Okay, I will talk about this just to keep myself sane. This is okay for everybody. Like our opinions on ends. If it's not that good of a movie, let me tell you, it's still a Halloween movie. For what it's worth, Michael is in this picture, but he's not Mike. It's so dumb. Resurrection. That's what the film is called. Mustafa Akkad, after H2O, pretty much made it clear in his contract for any studio who decides to like distribute these next films, Michael couldn't die. He can't die. That's just the same going with Batman and Rocky Balboa. They just can't die for every sequel they can make money off of it. So of course, naturally, we're told Michael Myers isn't dead. Instead, these are actually the first 10, 15 minutes of this film are actually the best part of the entire film. So I have no trouble explaining how this goes. Well, as it turns out, the person that Laurie thought she had killed was Michael wasn't Michael. It in fact was one of the paramedics that was trying to take his body and like identify, etc. I guess Michael was able to like unhand him and make turn him unconscious for a moment to just switch like clothes. And that's how in one shot, when you see Michael getting into the ambulance and Lori hijacking it, you see Michael, of course, in the paramedic suit with his signature knife. So we know that's how they explain that Michael is still out there. In the beginning, because of all this, because of this incident, and because Lori committed what's called
aggravated murder.
murder or aggravated murder, she gets sent to a mental institution just like Michael. So she's there. She's still, fully aware, even if she looks like she's drugged up. She always hides, finds a way to not actually take her drugs. But she's fully aware and believes that Michael is still not dead. And well, her suspicions are correct because Michael goes after her in the hospital. And I guess they have their little scuttle. They see each other, and their little encounter ends up at the roof of one of the buildings that she's in. And there's some weird thing. I'm not sure what it is. I guess it's like a little miniature crane that's supposed to hold things in place. She manages to get Michael onto that crane, turns it around to where he's hanging from the building, or at least from the edge of the building. She's about to let him go, knowing that, okay, this is the end, Michael. Like, even you're my brother and everything, you still have to die. Well, of course, what ends up happening is Michael somehow drags her along with her, and of course makes the killing stab. It mortally wounds Lori. They're like basically embracing each other for the last time, giving a hug. And weird enough, she just decides to kiss him and say, "I will see you in hell." So she falls from the building. She's basically dead. And at that point, the rest of the movie is like a dream. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
No, let's put it this way. Like, first time I saw this movie, my reaction is, why the hell is Busta Rhymes in this movie? And why the hell is he doing Kung Fu? This movie sucks. It's between Halloween Ends and Halloween Resurrections. I would pick Ends, no matter how much of a disappointment it was. Because this movie was just like total garbage. Basically, the premise is these kids decide to film our contestants of, like, basically they're filming Michael Myers' house, but nobody thought like he's in the house, but they're filming his house like all Blair Witch style. And apparently people who are watching it live on the internet, people are getting slaughtered, but people think it's all make believe or whatever until one of the actors, the final girl, I don't even care who she is, whatever, she contacts like this kid, even though she doesn't know this guy's a kid. Like, this kid's just catfishing her, but she tells him what's happening, and the kid knows because he's also watching it live. And I'm like, that's how you get people to believe that this isn't real? Because, my God, this movie's so bad. And like,
if anything, I can add, you're gonna tell me the way Michael ends up dying, for what it's worth, that one line, like at one point, it seems like he did kill damn, I cannot remember the rapper. What's his name?
Busta Rhymes.
Thank you. It seems like he killed Busta Rhymes, right? And Michael's about to go after the final girl. And then it turns out, I guess it's all in his house, by the way. Like, he fulfilled his purpose. He killed the last sister of his family bloodline. So there's nothing else for him to do except go home like an old man and just stay. And now he notices a bunch of teenagers and a producer are like literally in his house. He has every right to go after these people. He has every right to be like, get off of my property. That's like, that's trespassing. But anyway, as it turns out, when he's about to get the last kill, Busta Rhymes comes in, storming in, and be like, "Trick or treat, mother effer." And I'm like, oh my God, that's probably the best thing in this whole film. It's such a mess. And he, like you said, he kung fu's his way, literally kicks Michael's butt. And oh my God, first of all, the place they're in right now, it's already burning because I guess there's some sort of electrical fire going on. There's a bunch of wires, and over here, Busta Rhymes kicking Michael's butt, and that's literally like karate. I don't know what do you want to call that?
I don't know. A roundhouse kick.
Yeah, there you go. A roundhouse kick him into the freaking wires, and all you hear is Michael, like freaking making a scream or something, and that's how he dies. He just gets electrocuted. Supposedly dies, because at the end you see the coroner's office like assuming that he's dead, and he's in that autopsy room about to get his organs removed, and all you see is his freaking eyes open, and boom, cut the credits, and you're like, Thank God. I didn't have to go see this film. I had never heard about it. And I saw it for free. So
I
like,
know. Right? I mean, Kevin, I mean, I don't even
Yeah,
have to ask what were
yeah,
your thoughts. I mean, I'm pretty sure you hate it more than we do.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, because
Res-
you told us about,
Resurrection.
yeah, Resurrection.
Oh yeah, it
I mean,
sucked.
you told us about it, and like, well, you only told us how it ends, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this is not exactly what I pictured.
yeah,
But like, oh man,
mhm,
it sucks so bad. Mustafa is like, we got to redo it all over again. Well,
yeah,
sadly, for those who don't know, Mustafa and his daughter were killed in a terrorist accident about maybe 5 or 6 years after the movie came out. So his son eventually took control of it. We're going to go for another break right now, but we're going to actually explain 3 other films and then we can finally get to the last. Like, this is a long trip series, like
this is probably gonna be
44.
longer than that other podcast.
Yeah, that's not even out yet. All right, welcome back to Gilbert's All About the Media podcast. I'm still with my 2 friends because they're friends for life. They never leave me, and I never leave them, even though I'm thousands of miles away from where they still live in San Antonio, and I'm the only one in Huntsville. But anyway, like we mentioned earlier, we skipped Halloween 3 because Halloween 3 actually it's the first
mhm,
film in the actually it's the only film in the entire series that doesn't mention or have Michael Myers. It's a whole different story, a whole different universe because at the time, Carpenter and Hill, okay, let's continue the series, but let's do it as an anthology series, meaning Halloween 3 mentions a whole different story. And if this was a success, which apparently it wasn't,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you see, actually, all the Halloween movies weren't meant to be about Michael Myers.
yeah,
They were all just they were supposed to be just about a bunch of different Halloween horror stories. But so then, since part two was supposedly going to be the end of Michael Myers' story, he began, experimenting with other stuff. But he realized that the fans really want Michael, so they just want to see Michael Myers in the movies.
yeah. I mean, like, I guess the only film that I guess I've ever seen that could have been a Halloween movie, if Halloween 3 would have been successful,
Yeah,
is a film called Trick or Treat. It's a really good horror film. If you've never seen Trick or Treat, like if you guys are ever see like I guess a photo or somebody in a costume of what I forgot what the character's name is, but he wears
Sam.
orange. What?
Mhm.
Sam.
Sam. Yeah. He
Yeah,
wears orange and he has like a potato sack over his head. That's like
yeah.
where it comes from. But Trick or Treat, it's a very good horror film. I feel like that could have been a Halloween anthology movie if, again, Season of the Witch, which is what the movie's called,
Mhm.
would have been successful. I guess a little side note. I forgot his name.
Uh,
Tom Atkins, if you're
No,
referring to the actor.
no, the actor who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2. Oh, Dick.
Dick
Dick.
Warlock.
Yeah, Dick Warlock does appear in this movie, but again, not as Michael Myers. I guess Kevin, briefly, if you want to talk about it as much as you can, or as brief as you
oh,
can.
well, I can't remember who he plays in this film
But
in
if
Halloween. Wait, which
He,
Halloween 3?
yeah, no,
yeah.
I wonder if you want to like break down the movie if you want to.
Oh, are we still going to discuss the remaining Halloween movies before we get to Halloween 3?
How do you want to do that? Because I feel like since I know we're already on the Halloween 3, we can just stick to that right now, and then we'll talk about Rob Zombies right after.
Sure. Okay, so in this Halloween film, it shows these strange, peculiar guys in like, suits. They're like look like well-dressed men, and they're actually these androids who work for this some Halloween novelty company called Silver Shamrock. And you see, on the movie they show all these repetitive commercials. They say, and it's like it goes like it starts off
Happy,
with
happy
it's happy,
Halloween,
yeah. But
Halloween,
Yeah.
first,
Halloween.
and it says like how many more days till Halloween? Let's say it's 8, and they say 8 more days till Halloween, Halloween,
Yeah.
Halloween. Each day it just counts down the numbers, and they have all these masks like, and these guys puts like I don't know, it's some cult or something, and they put like these lights in them, and they can like control the masks, like the masks can like cause harm or and you
It's
see
almost like if they use the it's like you said, those little lights like chips or
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
They
chips,
it kind of like rots the kids' brains, right? It
right,
kind of turns them
yeah,
into mush, and all
Like
these
yeah, they
all
show
these
that.
bugs and
bugs come
snakes,
out.
they come out.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and so yeah, and those android guys are like coming for they're like stalking everyone and appearing in places, and no one knows who they are, and yeah, that's as far as I can get on with that movie,
I mean,
that
yeah,
film.
you are on the money, yeah, because it is
Yeah.
about like a doctor and this girl who are trying to find out what's happening, and I guess supposedly it's about like the old traditions of Halloween, like All
Mhm.
Hallows
Right.
Eve and witchcraft and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I could commend them for trying to do something different, but in the end, I mean, it's not like we're all used to Michael Myers, and like I said, maybe if the storyline was played out a little bit different, because to me these characters were a little bit dragged out, and it takes a long time, or not a long time, it takes multiple times to watch this movie to actually understand the plot.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, and the ending, I didn't like the ending because like the guy's trying to stop like the network from playing the commercials, and he just says stop it, stop it, stop it, and then it just cuts to black, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like they should have at least done a second film to this film.
But
Like
that
Hollow,
didn't happen.
that didn't have, at least give me an explanation, you know. But over the years, surprisingly, hold on, I gotta fix my mic here. Over the years, it actually has developed a cult following. I commend it. You know, it's not for me, sadly, but yeah. And then I know,
I can add if I can add something to that. I'll tell you this much, guys, and it's a hot take, so it's a little controversial, right? But over the years, ever since I finally gave a full viewing of it, every coming year, every October, I always rewatch it again, and for whatever reason, I start getting a new fondness for it. Like you said, like you appreciate the direction they're trying to take with this film. And last year, I kind of like the ending, right? Because the ending to me was also weird. Like, why would you end it like that? But after constant rewatches, I kind of realized if you just try to ignore Halloween 3 in the title and just remember it as Season of the Witch, it kind of reminds you of those old Twilight Zone
hmm,
episodes
yeah,
where you don't know if something bad, like if the story was resolved. Sometimes it ends up badly for the characters that you see in these episodes, and that's how I view it now. Like,
yeah,
think about it. That one channel refused to stop airing the thing and didn't stop it on time. Just imagine millions of kids around the United States are dead the next morning. That when you think about it like that, and this is coming from a teacher, like I teach, and so now the fact that I go with that with my new job, it really scares me
yeah.
to think that like did he save millions of kids on Halloween night? Were the
Yeah.
hospitals
Hold on.
completely like was there a pandemic? The hospitals were filled up with
Huh.
kids dead. So
You,
that's my fondness.
yeah. If you like the movie, that's fine. You know, like people have their opinions on it. And maybe again, I might will develop a fondness for this film because again, they went to a different direction. Who knows what else they would have gone to? I mean, Kevin had mentioned earlier that they were already coming up with ideas. Yeah,
Mhm.
but at the time, again, people were just like, it's not Michael Myers, it's not a Michael Myers film. And even the creators of the film were like, it's not a Michael Myers film either. And, you know, that's obviously when John Carpenter and Deborah Hill like gave all the rights away. They stopped. I mean,
They
let's
stopped being
be
a part of it because I mean they told their story. They killed Michael. They wanted to try the anthology, didn't kick off, and Mustafa Akkad knew the answer to rejuvenating the franchise was bringing back Michael because that's what everyone wanted.
yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense why they were like, yeah, we're not gonna be a part of this anymore. Go ahead and do what you want.
I mean, if they were part of it, they probably I wouldn't say save the franchise, but at least do something else with it. That way we didn't have to get the full complicated story arc. Like, but again, like, you know, it is what it is. We have to live with it now. But again, after how bad Halloween Resurrection sucked, now we go to a different timeline. And I forgot to mention this, but I forgot what the name of the YouTube channel was. It's not the Dead Me, which I usually watch. I don't know if y'all heard of it too, but this guy usually likes to give a brief history of like horror characters and stuff like that. But he says, imagine the Halloween timeline as like a subway station. It always gonna start with Halloween, but routes are gonna go a different way and it's all gonna end a different route. So obviously we already went to one big subway route. We went to its own subway route, and now we go to a two-way subway route, which is Rob Zombie's duology. And guys, if you haven't seen Rob Zombie's version, they are brutal. I mean, brutal with a capital R brutal. Like, if you thought like Halloween Ends was bloody, no. I mean, these if a little thing, if y'all don't know much about Rob Zombie, well, first of all, if y'all don't know who Rob Zombie is, he's actually a singer, a metal singer. He used to be in a band called White Zombie. he recently came out with the Munsters movie. I didn't know that was already out, but also that's like his first non-R-rated movie. So I kind of want to see how that goes. I'll probably watch it as soon as we're done. But he has a big old beard. He has a like that's his stage presence. He has a beard. He has long hair. But it's not the first time he's ever directed films. He's directed a couple of other horror films, such as they call it the Firefly trilogy. But if you've ever heard of either House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, which is the first film I saw in the trilogy, or the Three from Hell, that was his series, and those are pretty bloody too. Like they're, but I'm just gonna say this because we live in a cancel culture era or a woke culture. So if these movies had came out, they would be cut big time because there's a huge, and I mean a huge amount of nudity in these films, a huge amount of rape, like especially in one cut of the film, which is pretty bad. Like you really have to have the stomach for these films because Rob Zombie again likes to amp up the gore, and when it came to his Halloween 2, he really entirely amped up that gore and nudity. But basically, like Halloween 2007, that's just what I'm calling it, which is the remake. It humanizes Michael. Like we know Michael's human, but it entirely humanizes him. It gives him a whole new backstory, which is like so basically Michael is just he's a little older in this film. He's not 6 years old. He lives in like this like white trash, like lower class family. He has a very abusive stepdad. His older sister does a lot more. His mom's like hardly there. Like you kind of feel bad for him, which is a weird way. And like his first victim is not his sister in this film. And if you're a fan of Spy Kids, you're not gonna like this one. His first victim was he played Junie Cortez in the Spy Kids films. It's this bully who would bully Michael. He beats him with a branch. It is bloody disgusting. Kevin hates that part, the passion. Like I remember him telling me like he just could never watch that. But it's really like I said, it's pretty bloody disgusting. And then it goes with how the original Halloween began. But instead of just killing his sister, he also kills his stepdad and his sister's boyfriend. Both brutal. I mean, like he ties his stepdad down while he's asleep. I mean, his stepdad must have been really, really drunk and really passed out in order to like not even notice him.
Feel it.
Yeah, and like he only wakes up when as soon as Michael slits his throat, and then Judas's boyfriend. I don't think we ever mentioned, but that was Michael's sister. Judas's boyfriend gets beat to death with a baseball bat, and then Michael, of course, kills his older sister, and this is a lot more brutal again than the original. And then they actually does show the aftermath of what happens. Because like unlike in Halloween, the original, we just show him like with the knife and the camera just zooms out. But in this one, we actually show like the aftermath, how the mom reacts and how the entire town reacts. And Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasant. First, I doubt any of my listeners have ever seen A Clockwork Orange, but somehow if anyone has, came out in a Clockwork Orange. But Donald Pleasant, no, not Donald Pleasant.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDonald, yeah. Malcolm McDonald. Because Donald Pleasant already passed, but Malcolm McDonald's in this film. He's Dr. Loomis. He's trying to be more involved with Michael. And now there's a reasoning because, I don't know if this is just like a state law or if it's just always happened, but the reason why he's always been trying to communicate with Michael is because if a patient does not cooperate, then the doctor is forced to leave the case. So that's why he's trying to get more involved. And you do see, so there are two cuts of this film, and one of the cuts he actually mentions why Michael doesn't talk. Like he's been wanting to leave, and Loomis is telling him you can never leave because you're not cooperating. And then Michael says, "Well, if I'm not going to cooperate, if I'm not going to leave, then I'm just not going to talk at all." Like I don't know why they cut that out of the theatrical cut because it would have made a lot more sense. But like
maybe it's because it was the idea that a lot of people at the time they didn't like this reiteration of the film just because, they were showing a backstory for Michael when we thought Michael was not really he had no characteristics of a human. He was just evil personified. So with the backstory added in place and the audience feels sympathy for him. And that's what a lot of hardcore fans just didn't like. And I think maybe Zombie was thinking about it, was saying like, you know what? Maybe not include that piece because it would make him look like a whiny brat.
He kind of was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like his mom after seeing him kill another person and just seeing that's not her son anymore. She shoots herself. And now Michael's sister, I don't even have to say spoiler alert because at this point you guys already know. At this point, Michael's baby sister is still Laurie Strode. She's still being adopted by the Strode sister. I mean, the Strode sister, the Strode family. Kevin, what were your thoughts? I never even asked your thoughts. Well, you kind of mentioned it, but what were your thoughts, Kevin, on the remake? Because I know you love Rob Zombie as a musician, but
Yeah, he's a great musician. His remake on the film was, I guess it was good. I mean, I don't think I really enjoy all the gore.
yeah,
I never care about gore. I just care about like the creepy. I just like the weird, the creepy characters and trying to like survive. But I mean, it was I mean, it was scary and it chilled me, which was still good. But I mean, not as good as it's still not as good as the original '78
of
version.
course, nothing is going to be as good as the
Um,
original 78. Yeah, but like I mentioned how like that one scene in the beginning where he kills the kid from Spy Kids,
yeah.
how you told me like you couldn't watch that scene because of how like bloody it looked.
Oh yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, but like I was telling people
Hmm.
like you really have to have the stomach for this because there's two cuts of this film, and I actually watched the director's cut first at the point I didn't even know. So
Hmm.
like my reaction to the rape scene in that film was
Yeah,
like, I was like, oh God, no, 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 no. What the fuck, Rob Zombie? Are you
yeah.
serious? Like I was like, oh no. But
Hmm.
yeah. But we were just talking about like how it all began,
Hmm.
like little kid Michael is kind of he's whiny,
He's
he's a
the.
brat,
Hmm.
but it humanizes Michael. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but anyway, we kind of know we're actually at the point right now where like instead of 15 years, it's actually 18 years
Oh
later.
yeah.
And Michael in this film is played by, if you're a big fan of WWE, played by Tyler Main came out. He played Wolverine, not Wolverine. He played Sabretooth in the original X-Men. He was Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash, right? He
Wait.
was Kevin
I mean,
Nash's tag partner.
well, I know Tyler Mane was a pro wrestler back in the 1980s, but I don't think he ever came out on WWE though. But I'm not sure about
I
that.
know he was a wrestler, but at the time, I know there was a time where he used to be a tag team partner with Kevin Nash.
Oh,
Are y'all
okay.
confusing it with the NWO, like with WCW and not WWE?
Probably.
Oh, oh,
I don't remember him. Yeah, because I don't remember him being in WWE. But
Well,
yeah,
I
we know he's a pro wrestler for sure.
well he retired pretty early on. But Tyler Mane is actually the tallest Michael Myers ever at 6'9". So that's kind of like what made it scary is the structure, his tall structure and his ugly ass feet. And like I said in the movie, there's actually two ways how he escapes in the original and the director's cut. The original cut involved horror legend Bill Moseley. He's a very cool actor. I never got a chance to meet him. Hopefully, Bill Moseley and a bunch of other cuts because Michael is being transferred. Well, Michael, being the tall giant he is, was able to gain the upper hand and just kill all of them. Well, in the director's cut, which is the one I mistakenly watched, there is this one idiot caretaker or whatever, and he brings his cousin, and then they rape an inmate right in front of Michael.
mhm.
And that scene goes on forever. Like I was like, oh no, 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 oh God, what's wrong with you, Rob Zombie? And Michael is unfazed about it. The only time he just reacts is because like throughout the whole time in his sanitarium, Michael paper mache's mask, and he does wear one too. Well, one of the guys touches his mask, and that's when Michael reacts and he kills them both. And of course, he kills Danny Trejo. If you kill Danny Trejo on anything, I will be pissed because he's an awesome guy. So I've been
Yeah.
told. But it pretty much plays out like the original Halloween after that. But Laurie is not as shy as she was in the 1978 version. She's kind of like outgoing, like her friends are. Michael finds his way back home. He sees that it's Laurie. Supposedly, Tyler Main said that like that's when Michael was actually supposed to talk. He was supposed to say boo because that's what he called her as a baby. No, that didn't make the cut, thankfully.
I think that was the help of Mustafa Akkad. Mustafa Akkad was like, yeah, he's not gonna talk when he's
Yeah,
on that mask.
yeah, of course. Daniel Harris, as who played Jamie Lord, now plays Annie Brackett. And if you're a true horror fan, well, I'm not a fan of this series, y'all know that, but Sheriff Brackett is played by none other than Brad Dourif, who is the voice of y'all know who.
Chucky.
Chucky.
Yes. And I heard he's a very cool guy. But he's a cool guy to a limit. So when I went to Frightmare earlier this year, he was being cool. He was being cool. He was like signing autographs, giving pictures, high fives or whatever. it wasn't until like the last day, at the last like moments of the con, that's where he like was starting to push his limits, because his line was long. Like they cut down his line to 4 different lines. And even then he kept getting copped out multiple times. So like he was really, really reaching his limit there. But other than that, Kevin actually didn't get a chance to tell you. So when I was at Frightmare, I came out of a panel. It was the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 panel. And I really mean this, both Robert Englund, Brad Dourif walked past me. And I was like, where's my phone? That.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Now he's in this film. Again, it just plays out just like how Halloween did, except Annie Brackett doesn't die. She actually survives. But it's hard to see Daniel Harris do a sex scene because we all saw her as a little kid. Like it's weird.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. But and she gets assaulted by Michael Myers. No one wants to assume like the worst, Yeah. That's kind of like the one thing I was thrown off about these films. But unlike the original, Michael is not actually trying to kill Laurie. He's trying to tell her like we're related. But Laurie is just like scared out of her mind, And eventually it kind of like recreates the ending where like Loomis comes, he saves Michael. I mean, he saves Laurie from Michael, but rather than like it ending from like how it originally ended, Michael makes one last like jump scare, nearly kills Loomis, and then Laurie tries to hide within like the ceilings of the house, Michael Myers' house, and he like what is he? He gets like a broom or something, and like starts like poking her, like trying to get her down. She falls down, all bloody. He like speed runs and like tackles her down to the window. They're alive. Laurie tries to like grab the gun and shoot Michael, but like there's just blanks coming out. And as soon as Michael grabs her hand, she like shoots him in the head, and she just starts screaming. That's how the movie ends. But then like Halloween 2, this is actually one of those that's actually my least favorite, just because. So believe it or not, Rob Zombie wasn't given full control of his first Halloween. So they gave him full control of this one. And it pretty much shows like I've never really seen any of music videos that involve Rob Zombie, but I've heard his music. But I've been told his videos are like kind of like all mystical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like one of him, when he first introduced his wife, Sherry Moon, who's also in these films, it takes inspiration from the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which I think is pretty cool. But I really don't like the second one he did because it's just weird. Like for some reason, Michael and Laurie have like a psychic connection. It's just like the same thing with Halloween 5. We never really mentioned like somehow Jamie and Michael have a connection, like a psychic connection. And like there's a ghost mom. And believe it or not, like 10% of the movie, he doesn't have his mask on. Michael Myers without his mask is like, I don't know. Can y'all give me an explanation? Food without seasoning?
Like,
I don't know.
It's like eating fish with no tartar sauce.
There you go.
I mean, I can live with that, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, supposedly like another reason I don't like this one is because like Dr. Loomis is like the biggest douchebag ever. Like he gets that ego in his head. I'm like, that's not the Dr. Loomis I remember. Like Malcolm McDowell, I was gonna say Malcolm McDowell's a good actor, but I mean it's just not him.
And sadly, just in my opinion, he's the bread and butter of Rob Zombie. I mean, you have Laurie, and she's a great, like the actress did great and all with the different interpretation of the character. But I think in the second movie, like Rob, with all the creative control he had, it was almost like I didn't necessarily care about any of the characters in this film except for, well, Loomis, even though he acted, like you said, a total douche. I hated his guts. But he was the only reason why I kept watching the second movie. What we in?
Yeah, and like, okay, so they cut something off from the second film that I feel like should have gone, and I did not know this until I watched the Dead Meat episode where he compares both cuts. I just forgot something. I want to go back to the first remake because we didn't mention a good part. 5 times within the series, Michael kills a mechanic and gets a jumpsuit. One of them is another horror legend named Ken Foray.
Yeah.
That scene where like he's killing Ken Foray, there were no stunt doubles. That was both Tyler Mane and Ken Foray. Because those are 2 giants. I mean, let's put it this way. If I was in a panel and I was like introducing Ken Foray and Tyler Mane, just picture that in your head. Because that's literally how Kevin already knows what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
they're both huge. Yeah.
They're tall. Every actor who's played a serial killer is tall. I mean, a bunch of the actors who've played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface is tall. Jason, he's freaking tall. But anyway, yeah. And then Halloween 2, there's like a whole ghost Mrs. Myers. What the hell? I don't get it.
That white horse, man. I don't know.
I mean, what was your reaction to that storyline, Kevin?
It was kind of confusing. I mean, I don't know if she's still alive in and about in that movie, but it just seems like in the movie when they show her with that long gown and with the white horse, it feels like she's some kind of like mystical spirit or something. And I don't know what happens. I don't know if and she's appearing everywhere after like Michael butchers someone, and
Yeah.
I don't know what that means though. So,
Yeah. The other thing I will give credit for, and it's been told, but it's never really confirmed that Michael eats dogs. Like it's been mentioned, but it's never been confirmed. So Rob Zombie actually affirmed that there's actually a scene where Michael kills and butchers and eats a dog, but then somehow Laurie can also taste it, which is again is weird. But of course, Annie, as I mentioned, Annie doesn't die in the first one, but she does die in this second one. Again, a lot bloody. But apparently, there's a scene with Brad Dourif who gave it his all, and it's like people were pissed that was cut out because apparently it was fine acting from Brad. Because apparently Brad Dourif
That's
is
Oscar.
yeah, he's an Oscar nominee. He was nominated for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I didn't even know he was in. Him and Jennifer Tilly.
Oscar-worthy of performance, man. That one scene.
You know
like
what I'm talking about?
Best. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the scene. He's like, "Where is she?"
Yeah.
And man, that kicks.
Well, it's because like so the original it was just music, but there's the director's cut. There was no music. You just hear no, Annie. Like some people were mixed. I thought like, wow, that was like pretty interesting. Like, and again, he is an Oscar nominee, and so is Jennifer Tilly, who played Tiffany, right?
yeah.
Tiffany in the Child's Play movies.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. But again, like it ends weird too. So like Laurie gets kidnapped by Michael after Michael kills her friends and then takes her to a barn, and like Loomis is there trying to see what's happening, and then all you just hear is Michael's song saying, "It's time, Michael." And he kills Dr. Loomis, like he stabs him multiple times. He stabs him in the chest and in the face. And then Sheriff Brackett, wanting justice, shoots Michael, and then Michael gets impaled. And then Laurie, for some reason, like now has love for her brother out of nowhere. And she says, "I love you, brother," and like kills him. And then now she's in a mental institution. She sees the white gown and the horse. The movie ends. She grins. I'm like, okay. But apparently there's an alternate ending. And in this version, rather than like stabbing Loomis multiple times, he rams Loomis through the wall. And Michael says, and I forgot what Loomis says, but Michael actually talks. And he says, "Die." And I'm like, for the record, guys, I just pretended I loaded a bazooka and aimed it at my head. But yeah, I mean, and then Laurie picks up the mask and apparently someone shoots and she died, or presumably, I don't know. All right.
She dies apparently because at that point they don't reference the other ending that you mentioned.
Yeah. So that was the end of Rob Zombie's films. And this is actually the first time, well, I wouldn't say the first time, but this is I guess the second time, if we want to put it, where Michael actually does die. Because like we said, the original Halloween 2, he was supposed to die. But because, people wanted more Michael, he's not dead. But this is like, for sure, like he's dead. So even though like Rob Zombie, I didn't like how he handled this film, at least like he put it to rest. And thank God there was not another one, because I'm pretty sure I would not have ever watched it. But we're going to take another break right now, and we're going to discuss the recent film. We already gave our thoughts on the third film, but we'll talk more about the last three. And then we'll give our opinions on the entire series in general. All right, welcome back to Gilbert's All About the Media podcast. I promise you guys, this is the last segment. We're wrapping it up. Don't worry. But anyway, after the Rob Zombies, they decided, no, we got to get this one last shot. Like, well, assumingly one last shot, because I remember I was like at an office or something, and I get a text from a suit saying they're making a Halloween 3. And I'm like, Rob Zombie's doing a third one? And you tell me like, oh no, like it's nothing to do with Rob Zombie. They're scrapping the entire series. And then later on, we found out they're even scrapping the second one. So for those who don't know, this series, now it scraps everything, even including Halloween 2. So in this series, the David Gordon Green series, Michael and Laurie are now just strangers to each other. Because remember, the first film, it never has nothing to do with them being related. Michael is just stalking Laurie because he's an animal and he's stalking his prey. But in this series, I kept my head low for this one. Like I kept all my expectations low. The first film in the series, well, So originally, I think it was supposed to be called Halloween Legacy, but then they just call it Halloween. So now there's 3 films called Halloween. So every time we mention the name Halloween, we either have to say 1978, 2007, or 2018. But I doubt we can. Hardly we would ever say Halloween 2007 because not a lot of people really enjoyed the Rob Zombie versions. I mean, so basically, 40 years later, these failed podcasters, which is what I am right now, they wanted to interview Michael, who is now portrayed by James Jude Courtney, who I'm expecting to see at the end of the month at a convention in San Antonio. So I am pretty excited about that.
You're gonna have to tell me after this podcast is over. You're gonna have to tell me because I am gonna call for it. I'm gonna call in on my days.
Okay, but yeah, James Jude Courtney, and this is the only actor I'm assuming that's actually played Michael Myers at his age. Like he was actually born in 57, which is when Michael Myers was. Because despite how sucked Halloween Resurrection was, it tells us like how old Michael Myers was or how old he is. Because we only assumed he was 6 in the Halloween 1978. They never actually mentioned it, but it was still Halloween Resurrection. They gave us like the age, like when he was born. So now we officially know he was 6 years old when he killed his sister, and he was 21 years old when everything started. So this is 61-year-old Michael Myers. He's still in Smith Grove. There is no, of course, Sam Loomis because Donald Pleasant. Instead, there's just a cheap knockoff.
The Dr. Sartain.
Yeah, Sartain. I don't really care for that dude. Like, and they bring Michael's mask towards him, but he has no reaction. But everyone else around him, including the dogs, have a reaction to it. Just like the podcaster who was yelling out, "Say something!" Even I was like inside. I was like, "Say!" Well, because Jesus and I saw it in theaters. Sorry for not inviting you, Kevin, at that time.
I that's fine. Actually, I too saw it in theaters too.
I mean, before we continue, I mean, Kevin, what was your thought on the 2018?
It was cool. I liked it, and
Yeah,
I noticed it did have some of the stuff from it kind of replicated that scene from H2O when the mother and her like daughter, her child in the pit stop, whatever.
Yeah, the bathroom scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the father and the son?
No, the part when those reporters go into that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
the woman's
that.
in the yeah.
Yeah.
They replicate the scene, and so yeah, I mean, it was intriguing, and although I mean, I never really liked. Of course, I never liked Karen on the movie. Yeah.
Oh, the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't care for her either. So, like, for those who don't know, Laurie Strode is 57 or 58, presumably. She has one daughter who doesn't talk to her. She has a granddaughter, and she has total PTSD. She's been trying to prepare herself if Michael should ever escape or she should ever confront Michael again. Apparently, we eventually find out later on in the movie, but somehow Michael escapes the bus he was on. He kills a father and his son, which is the first time we ever actually see Michael kill like a kid. And we were all surprised. I was like, what the hell? Like he snapped his kid. Yeah.
If I can ask something real quick, John Carpenter, from how much he got? He was asked to come back and make the music. And my God, is that the best music I've heard since the original film?
We never mentioned that John Carpenter, despite directing it, he also did the music. How do we skip that part? Well, not just that, he did the music with his oldest son, I believe, or one of his sons. But anyway, Michael starts being Michael. He killed the podcasters in the bathroom. Again, he kills the mechanic. Again, he takes the clothes. Again, it's kind of the same old thing. Then he just starts killing people. I mean, that's pretty much what it is,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were gonna say something, Kevin?
I was gonna say, I like the parts when they include, they also kind of replicated some of the scenes from the first Halloween from '78, like the scene when on the 2018 version when they showed Allison at school sitting by the window and she sees Laurie Strode standing from afar.
Yeah.
Just like when they showed when she saw Michael standing from afar. Also on the part when Laurie told the podcaster, "Do you believe in the boogeyman?" Just like on the original '78 version when little Tommy Doyle asked Laurie, "What's the boogeyman?" And she said, like, "Do you believe in the boogeyman?" And she said no, but now it's like it's almost somewhat reversed. Now she asking someone else if they believe in the boogeyman,
Yeah, and like I said, like he is the boogeyman. They actually still reference him as the shape in this series as what he should be called. And and despite, Michael being old, he still got it for a 61-year-old. I
Mhm.
mean, well, James Duke Courtney, I believe, was a bodybuilder and a stunt performer. So he's legit, like he's 66 or
I think he's like 65 at this time.
yeah. So
I mean, this
James
year he's
Duke
like,
Courtney is 65
yeah.
years old and he's still in
Mhm.
that structure. So I got to commemorate that. But anyway, like people eventually, like Laurie finds out that Michael had escaped and we eventually find out and that Dr. Sartine, is that how you pronounce it? Sartain?
Sartain, I believe.
He's the one who rigged like the bus being like he rigged his chains or something. He's the reason why Michael escaped because he really wanted to analyze it. And I'm like, what in the hell were you guys going with? And like the way he died was brutal. Oh, first of all, he stabs Hawkins. Is that his name?
Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkins.
Yes.
I almost said Hopper, but that's Stranger Things. He stabs Hawkins in the neck. We all thought he died
Mhm.
until Halloween ends. He's somehow still alive. Because not only that, he even got rode over when Sartain took Hawkins' car. But then Michael somehow wakes up. He doesn't kill Allison, who's also in the car with them. He kills Sartain. I guess he really wants to piss him off or something. And freaking stomps on his face. Like, I
I
was like,
always like to
what?
think of it as like, you're not Loomis. That's just because
I think that's what Michael said. You're not Loomis. But then, like, of course, Michael follows Allison to her grandmother's house, which is Lori. Lori had everything rigged. They performed that one scene back in 78 when Lori was crying and then Michael appears like that. Well, apparently they did the same thing where Michael was trying to kill Allison and Karen, and then Lori pops out of the shadow. Happy Halloween, Michael. Not trick or treat, mother. No, not literally. And of course, they trap Michael in the cellar, and it has like gasoline coming out of it. And then they set the place on fire. And then we all thought, could there be a chance, And then Halloween Ends came out, and it takes place on the exact same night. And we kind of mentioned, but like Michael killed Karen's husband, and Allison has something with her boyfriend, like he's cheating on her, whatever. I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. Like,
hmm
but
Mhm.
Cameron, her boyfriend, is still there, and he sees that Hawkins is still alive. And we actually find out that Hawkins was the reason why Michael actually survived 1978. And it turns out back in 1978, when Hawkins was a rookie cop, he was there the night when it all happened. Like he even like was the one who arrested Michael, but he accidentally shot his partner. And as soon as he sees Michael leave his house, guess who pops back in the house? Dr. Loomis. Yo, and first of all, I found this out. That was not CGI.
No.
That the what construction worker or whatever just had a stronger resemblance to Dr. Loomis. But of course, just like he's a construction worker, he's not an actor. So they had to find someone who could do the voice.
Right.
But to my surprise, when they got someone to be Loomis, I was like, what? Did he
I
kill
know, dude.
again? Did he kill
Like
again?
he
What
was.
was your
Oh my god, dude! When I saw that, I was like, "Hold on a minute, that's got to be CGI." Because we now have CGI to where we can mimic people's faces of dead actors, and I'm
yeah.
over here thinking, "Okay, that's CGI." And then finding out about that like months after the show's release, I'm going, "Wow, okay."
Yeah.
So somebody just happened to just look like him after they put makeup and everything, and
I
boom,
feel like God was just giving them a blessing there. But
yeah.
yeah. I mean, what was your reaction with that, Kevin, when they showed Loomis?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I was also shocked and I mean, kind of confused. But then, I mean, I figured that out. That I mean, I just supposed it was just CGI like animation work, and
Yeah.
then yeah. But I mean, well, really, I didn't even know it was a construction worker.
Yeah, like
I didn't know it was an actual person that they used to just resembled him, but I thought it was simply just CGI and
n- yeah,
computer
no,
stuff.
they just got lucky. Yeah, but again, like Halloween Kills lives up to its title. He kills a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And like, but people are stupid in this film. Like, if you thought Resurrection, well, even people in Resurrection were really stupid. But let's put it this way: a nurse, I think it was a nurse. She sees her
It
husband
was
die.
mhm.
She sees her husband dies. She does a smart idea and goes to the door, but doesn't open it, and she gets stabbed in the neck. By the way, guys, she didn't die. Surprisingly, She actually survived.
No.
Freaking
You're confusing that with the other person. So I don't know if you remember in that one, it was a couple. She was the wife
yeah, that's what I
of
mean.
some dude,
Yeah,
and
that's what I
but
meant.
yeah. Oh, okay. Because I thought you were referring to the one scene where like it was a couple that was
Oh, the
dressed as a
couple.
nurse and a doctor.
Well, I assumed that she was a nurse just because like the way her outfit looked. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, but that's just what I assume. But yeah, she doesn't die. I'm like, really? You're gonna make it an impossible looking survival incident? A character who should be dead come back in another movie, just like Hawkins, you know? And by the way, supposedly there was a whole Hawkins story relationship. I don't give a damn about it. And like Tommy Doyle is in this film, played by Anthony Michael Hall. He was a big 80s actor. He came out in Weird Science, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, like the nerdy little kid. Well, nope, not anymore. And I think he acts a lot more dumb because he's the one who starts this whole like evil dies tonight thing. It gets annoying. Like, let's be honest, that got annoying. Like
Yeah.
in the trailers, I was like, it sounds badass. But when in the movie came, it's like, okay, evil's
Like, are
not
y'all
going to
gonna
die.
do anything?
And like I said, as I mentioned, just like in Halloween 4, the mob kills the wrong guy because there was supposedly another missing inmate. And they all thought this was Michael Myers. But like, are you guys that stupid to think that this short, fat looking dude who's asking for help is Michael Myers? I mean, even Lori, and by the way, guys, Lori is also bedridden or she's in a hospital again with nothing to do. Like
Yep.
she's hardly in this film. So it's too much of a repeat like the actual Halloween 2. And this Halloween, if we put it together, this is actually a Halloween 3, kind of, with Michael
Yeah.
Myers. Yeah, but the dude freaking kills himself because they all think he's a killer. Like, it's just idiotic, you know? And like, there's the Big John and Little John. Those guys, I mean, those guys are pretty stupid too. Because, like, first of all, if somebody's in your house, your first instinct wouldn't be to grab a knife, especially a knife that's like this small, and try to stop them. No, your first instinct would be to run outside and get help. But also, if you ever actually think about it, earlier in the film, they got tricked by a bunch of kids. So I don't actually blame them for that. Another thing I found out, they live in the Michael Myers house. The only reason why they actually live in that house is because those two are real estate agents. And the reason why they're living there is because they can never sell that house for obvious reasons. So that's why they're living in it. But spoiler alert, those two guys die. Well, I don't even have to say spoiler alert. You could have just seen that coming. But like the first one, Big John, who's actually like looks like he's 5'4" or whatever, he gets like a surprise stabbed in the armpit and gets his eyes freaking gouged out. Little John just stands there, just asking to get killed. What in the world, dude? Like,
I think this was like you said, like since now we're part of this kind of cancel culture kind of thing, and this culture where everybody has to be recognized in some sort of way. They just said, okay, why don't we include why don't we fulfill that role, wokeness, and include a gay couple, but not for the rude reasons or anything. It was just more like, let's add some more diversity into the cast, but also for the joke. I mean, think about it. Big John, Little John, y'all should understand by now what that actually means, and
yes.
how one of them had a small knife, which makes it so much funnier when the other dude has a big knife. It's just, that cracks me up. Whenever I see this movie, that always makes me laugh.
Yeah. And eventually pretty much everybody comes to their senses and they go and they all plan to officially kill Michael Myers. And before I go back to it, I've been told that we probably shouldn't be laughing at the scene where that one girl tries to shoot Michael and accidentally gets shot in the face because Michael kicks the door. And it's reiterate, she actually knows how to use a gun. But the reason why she keeps going forward is because she knows how to use a gun. She knows how to shoot a gun, but she's not a sharpshooter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we all live in Texas. No one's here's a sharpshooter.
No.
They know,
No.
like they know how to use a gun, they just don't know how to shoot it well. So as soon as I hear it and then I reanalyze, I was like, okay, technically this isn't really a stupid death, or the only reason why she's getting close is because she's too far. But apparently she got way too close for Michael to like kick the door and like shoot her in the head. And Nurse Chip, this is the only character that dies twice in the series because Nurse Chamber dies again in this film.
Mm-hmm.
First in H2O, now here. And it's funny. That was actually, you could laugh at it because she like actually had the gun at Michael and it was out of bullets. And I was like, oh my God. Like it looked cool. Like she said, this is for Dr. Loomis. Blank. Uh-oh. But yeah,
And then
but
he's all like, I don't even care for you. Where's Lewis? And I was,
yeah. But anyway, no surprise, Allison makes up with Cameron, and Cameron's dad turns out to be Lonnie Mitchum, who used to bully Tommy Doyle as a kid, but became friends after that night. They go to the house. Cameron and his dad die. Cameron dies brutal. And this is the only time I actually didn't want Cameron to die. Like the first film, I was like, I want him
oh
to die.
yeah,
But this time I was like, damn, why'd you have to kill him off? And it was brutal. Like he rammed his neck like multiple times through a stairwell before actually like I was to the point where I was like, okay, Michael, I think he's dead. You don't have to keep ramming his neck like that. Like this is like I don't know, but it was all a plan but they all had this plan to lure Michael out into the open in front of this angry mob. But like I said, I keep referencing the dead meat. I don't know if you guys are actually familiar with that YouTube channel, but y'all should check it out. Zoom in on one of the mobsters, and she's holding not a curling iron, she's holding a clothing iron.
yes.
I was laughing. I was like, I never noticed that, but like, Sheriff Brackett's there, and he's fulfilling that one line from the first film. It's like everyone's entitled to one last scare, and they all were able to like shoot and pin down Michael. And then like Brackett got too close, and Michael got up, freaking kills everyone, bashes Tommy Doyle's head in again. Just thank God Paul Rudd was not in that movie. And then Michael kills Karen. No one knows how he got into the house, but from what I've heard, people in the Midwest do not use the front door. People always use the back door. I never knew that, but we live in Texas. We guard both doors,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get politics, so I'm not going to even mention this. But anyway, 4 years later, this crap show happened. So supposedly, like the pandemic is supposed to do with the reason why Michael wasn't active. Okay, so from what I've been told, before Halloween Ends came out, like they did mention that the character Corey, I believe, not
Yes.
Corey, yeah, Corey was framed for the murder of a kid. So that's to my assumption. I thought like, oh, Michael killed this kid, and now Corey's like framed for it. But I would have thought like people would have already known. And then the movie came out. I was like, okay, I see it, but I mean, of course I'm gonna say it's the damn kid's fault, but you know what I mean? Like the parents saw him fall. You know what I mean? Like, and they even
Right.
heard
It's
him
all
say,
a misunderstanding. Like they didn't see everything happen. They didn't know the minutes before the incident that he just locked Corey in on the attic. So yeah, you can say it's a misunderstanding almost.
yeah. And then like this whole story that I don't care happens. I don't get what's Michael doing in this film. Like he's been hiding, but I don't know. I don't get it. Like he had Corey in his hands, but I guess because he saw in his eyes what Corey did. I don't know. Apparently, I guess if you kill someone on Halloween, you become evil. I don't understand it. Like, I'm not getting it. Allison, like, Lori's a lot different in this film too.
Right.
Like, she's like not. I guess she's just trying to move on with her life. I understand that, but I just don't like how she's taking it. And she introduces Allison to Corey because she thought those two can hit it off. Because Corey's actually been through a lot. Like, you feel for him. But then, like, towards the movie, you're like, God, you're supposed to maybe feel bad for this guy. Now he's like this copycat killer, Which, again, I hate that storyline. Like, for those who don't know, like, Corey's supposed to be a copycat killer of Michael. And you expect me to believe Corey was able to pin down Michael and take his mask from him. Again, like, they just had no idea how to plan out the ending. And Michael doesn't he only kills like 3 people in this film. The rest of the killing is off from Corey. And then, again, like we said, just the way how it ends, Michael bleeds to death, and then to make sure he dies, I mean, she's for sure dead, they put him in a grinder. I thought, okay, here's the thing. I thought Lori was actually going to go in the grinder too, because she thought, like, so that he's put to rest, I could put myself, you know what I mean? But no, you're starting to believe, like, she's going to be able to move on? I don't think so. I don't think she's going to be able to move on from that. Because let's not forget, in these 3 films, Michael has not really stalked Lori. He just happens to be in Lori's past. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Corey was the one who went to go and kill Lori. Hey, that rhymes. Corey, Lori. But Michael was there because Corey took his mask. Again, that part ticked me off. I'm not going to believe that Corey was able to pin down. Yeah, okay, Michael's old, but he's still Michael Myers, I'm just going to say, like, it's all put to rest now. If they try to make it, I'm probably not even gonna watch it in theaters. If they try to do another one, I'm probably just gonna wait till it's on like Blu-ray or whatever else they have in the next 10 years.
It's gonna probably be another 5 or 10 year wait because they want people to just let the trilogy sink in. They want that to make the most money for now. They don't want to continue a whole new like. They don't want to go Halloween 3 route yet, as far as I'm aware, and they don't
Uh,
want to go. They just don't want to make another thing again. Like from what I understand, is it's gonna be a fresh slate and no legacy characters will be mentioned.
mm,
Daniel Harris isn't gonna be in it. Well, we understand. Jamie Lee Curtis has officially gone on to say she is done. She
yeah.
will not return to anything, even no matter how much money there's involved. She said, "I'm done." So I don't know. See where this takes us.
All right. Well, before we end it off, I'm gonna give you guys my ranking. No surprise, Halloween Resurrection is dead last. Halloween 6 is still second to last, just because I don't like the whole cult storyline. Originally, this spot was supposed. You know what? I'm mixing this up. After Halloween 6, Halloween ends. I just hate that whole copycat killer storyline. Then there's Halloween 4. Not Halloween 4, Halloween 5. Again, I don't like the whole Jamie, Michael having a psychic connection. Also, the house is not the Michael Myers house that they used in this film. You expect us not to think that. Then it's Halloween 2009. Again, it's all bloody, and stuff like that. Then it's a Halloween 4. It's still a little dull, but I can last. Then it's a Halloween 2007, Halloween 3, Halloween Kills, Halloween H2O, Halloween 2, the original, Halloween 2018, and of course, the OG Halloween. That's my list and ranking. I will tell you though, I'm gonna tell you, y'all don't have to do this, but I'm gonna give you like my best and my worst kill in the entire series. Best kill is obviously Bob's, even though I don't understand the physics, how he could just hang there, but it's still a pretty good kill. Worst kill is obviously Little John. You just stand there and you get killed when you see your partner's dead body on the floor. And obviously Nick Castle is my favorite Michael Myers. And I met Nick Castle and he's such an awesome guy. But anyway, you guys can, what's the off ranking on the entire series? Whoever wants to go first.
Hey, you want to take that one, Kevin?
No, not yet.
Okay, no,
Not
I
ready
got
yet.
you. I got mine ready. So
Okay, go
mine
ahead.
isn't really a ranking. Like, I mean, well, it's not worst to like yours, how you go from a certain number all the way up to the best. Mine's
Yeah.
is kind of using that tier list where you go from S rank, A, B, C, D, and
Mm,
et cetera, et cetera. So like, let me show you. I just did it right now in the span of a couple of minutes. I'm gonna share the screen with y'all.
I think I think I'm still on share screen. Yeah.
All right, can y'all see that?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so. Why does this exist?
And yeah, right there. Why does that exist? So y'all see it? S ranking, the best three that I think are on the first film. To this day, 2018 is a really great film. Don't get me wrong, but I guess my nostalgia can't really beat it. So Halloween 2 is still the best sequel that they've ever made. You can fight me for that, but yeah, that's my opinion. 2018 is really good too. Stands on there with them. A ranking, I got H2O, Halloween 4. B ranking, again, another hot take. You can fight me on this, but this is my opinion. Halloween Kills and Halloween 3, right? Even though Halloween 3 shouldn't even be on this list, it is. It's just a part of this franchise, unfortunately. C, Halloween 5 and Rob Zombie's Halloween. D ranking, yes, the new one. It just came out. It's all right, but I can't say it's down here, but I can say that it just misses that mark. And then Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, and of course, why does that exist? Resurrection and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I guess Kevin. I mean, you don't have to like give a full ranking, but it's like if it comes down. I mean, I'm gonna assume the first one is obviously the best one,
Yeah,
but
Mhm. I'll start off with my least favorite, and I'll work up to my favorite one. Okay, well, my least favorite, of course, has got to be Resurrection, because it seems too much like like a stupid slot like gore fest.
yeah.
With stupid teenagers screwing things up.
Mm.
Above that would have to be Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, okay, the absolute worst was Resurrection, and above that was I would say Halloween Ends, and then I guess, and then Halloween 2 from 2009.
Hmm.
And
Do you want me to put up that list again so you can see what I ranked, and then you can tell me where I can put it? Yeah, I got it. I got
please.
it. Give me a minute.
Okay, well, at the bottom would be Resurrection.
Okay.
And then above that would be
So there's 13 films
yeah.
now, as far as I'm aware. So I'm just gonna be adding rows here.
Yeah.
And ignore the S rankings and all that. Ignore what they call them. We'll just do it like that based on each one. Like row.
Okay, well, at the bottom would be Resurrection. Above that would be Ends, and above that would be I would say the Curse of Michael Myers.
You wanted Ends, right? So give me a minute.
Yeah.
We'll go right here.
Okay, so Resurrection, then Ends, and then the Curse of Michael Myers.
You can see
and then above that, I would have to say Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 would go next. Followed by, I guess after that would be H2O, and then then I would say the 2007 remake, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2007.
All right, so hold on, go down. So Kevin, your ranking so far is Resurrection, Ends, Halloween 6, Halloween 209, Halloween H2O, Halloween 07.
And then I think after that, I would put probably Season of the Witch.
All right, Season of the Witch.
Is that above 2007?
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like that right now.
Yeah. Then I guess I would put.
Yeah, let me know. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. I guess I would put Halloween Kills. Then Halloween 2018. And then I would say Halloween 4, Halloween 5, then Halloween 2, and then of course the first one, the OG 78 version.
Interesting ranking. I like it.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much our rankings. I mean, it could change pretty much. I mean, obviously I'm never gonna put anything above Halloween 1978. No doubt anything could get worse than Halloween Resurrection. I mean, unless somehow I hate Halloween Ends so much, I'm gonna put it underneath Resurrection. But who knows? I mean, this series it's been through a lot. Like it's been through like that, and I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series has actually been through a lot. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking by us. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Jesus, Kevin, pleasure to have you guys on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll probably do a lot more. But yeah, this is Gilbert's All About the Music podcast. You guys have a wonderful night, day, whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, and happy Halloween. But if this thing comes out by Christmas, Merry Christmas. All right. You have a nice night.
All right, thanks.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.